I'm just here to answer some of your guys' questions. While I'm waiting for some more questions, I will mention tomorrow we're going to be having Netflix Club. And so if you're interested in that, send us a direct message. And basically, Netflix Club tomorrow, we're going to be watching V for Vendetta. Really great movie with Natalie Portman. Super awesome. Good evening, Francis. And so we're going to be doing that tomorrow at 6:30 Chile, but you can come from any other country. It doesn't matter. We're going to be checking that out. If you're interested, send us a message here at empire.english.insta in Instagram. Okay? So, let's see, I got a question here. ¿Cuál es la mejor forma de aprender inglés? Siento que la academia a la que voy no aprendo mucho. Well, the best form to learn any language is to go to the country where they speak it, or to have lots of experience, lots of interaction with native speakers. That's hands down the best way to learn a different language. In this case, English for you. If that's not possible, definitely private classes with a native teacher is going to be really, really useful for a lot of people. And without a lot of context, I couldn't give you a better answer because I don't know how the classes are at the school that you're checking out. But definitely going and traveling to another country or talking to native speakers online or finding people that you can talk to definitely is going to be the most useful thing that you can be doing. Hello there, WIRL. I'm doing good, and you? Hello, Jimmy. What's going on? All right, guys. So, like I mentioned, while I'm waiting for some more of your questions, tomorrow we're going to be checking out the Netflix Club, V for Vendetta. No sé el título en español, por Vendetta, algo así, con Natalie Portman, también Hugo Weaving, de los directores del Matrix. Es una película increíblemente interesante. Se trata de como un futuro cerca de Inglaterra, en que tienen como un gobierno muy como una dictadura, básicamente. It's super interesting. V de Vendetta. All right, that makes sense, right? It's really awesome movie. One of my favorite movies, actually, which is why we're going to be checking it out. So that's Netflix Club tomorrow. If you're interested, send us a message and we can send you the information on what you need to be able to get in. Thank you, Jeffrey. Valeria, ¿cómo puedo mejorar mi pronunciación? Definitivamente querrás escuchar a muchos nativos hablando, pero hablando en el acento que tú quieres. Algo que puedes hacer es cuando estás viendo algo en Netflix, elige una serie corta que sería más fácil, pon los subtítulos en inglés y sin prestar atención, si entiendes lo que están diciendo, eso no importa si estás practicando la pronunciación, lee los subtítulos en alta voz. Si tú haces eso diario, sí vas a mejorar tu pronunciación, porque estarás como básicamente imitando los sonidos que escuchas constantemente y no tienes que preocuparte de si estás entendiendo. Obviamente eso sería mejor, pero no es obligatorio si simplemente estás yendo para mejorar tu pronunciación. Entonces, leyendo subtítulos en alta voz definitely is a big thing you could be doing for yourself, right? All right, let's a couple of questions I saw here. Deadly video you uploaded yesterday, Australian and New York accents. Yeah, the Australian accent has some really weird, from my perspective, they're very weird vowel sounds. Some vowel sounds that just do not exist in my accent, also don't exist in British English. So that's something that's was pretty interesting for me, right? I had to actually look up the phonology for Australian English. ¿Cuál es correcta al comparar? Easier or more easy? You want to say easier. If you have an adjective that ends with Y, you're going to just put IER at the end. So easier, drier from dry, or happier for happy, right? IER at the end for all of those, because they all end in Y. Hola, ¿por qué muchas veces en las películas las personas dicen for what y no usan why? ¿Cuál es la diferencia? For what es específicamente si estás preguntando por qué con el propósito, como ¿para qué fue el propósito de eso? Entonces, de hecho, puede ser algo así. ¿Para qué versus por qué? ¿Por qué es why? ¿Para qué? También puede ser why, pero en muchos casos nativos quizás van a decir for what o what for. También, pues, dependiendo del contexto. Entonces, como la diferencia entre para qué y por qué. Para qué es más específico, más específicamente hablando, ¿qué fue el propósito de eso? ¿Para qué hiciste eso? Right? Que es un poco más enfatizado quizás que por qué. Right? For what, ¿para qué? Why, ¿por qué? Siempre he querido saber de dónde eres. I'm from Santiago and New York, specifically. So there you go, from both places. All right, I think I saw a couple questions here. Hola, me quiero ir de au pair a Estados Unidos el próximo año. Mi inglés es intermedio. Carola, de hecho, en Empire English tenemos un curso que es inglés para au pairs, específicamente. Entonces, muy específico que te podría interesar con el vocabulario, las frases más típicas que tendrías que aprender. Viene con materia, un libro instructivo y todo. Entonces, te podría interesar quizás. Podrías mandar un mensaje a mí o también a empire.english.insta y te puedo dar un poco más información, right? Let me see. ¿Cómo mejoro mi acento? Recién había mencionado la cosa de leyendo subtítulos en alta voz. Entonces, viendo una serie, recomiendo una serie un poco más corta y leyendo en alta voz todos los subtítulos que aparecen. No importa si estás en este contexto, no es súper importante si estás entendiendo 100% de lo que están diciendo, ya que solamente quieres mejorar el acento, es aprender los sonidos e imitar los sonidos. Entonces, leyendo subtítulos en alta voz, imitando su acento lo mejor que puedas, es una forma para hacerlo bien si no tienes a alguien con quien practicar, un profe nativo o algo así, right? ¿Por qué se dice let's go si let us ya se traduce a vamos? Porque es así, simplemente no hay como realmente una razón. Nativos no lo estamos pensando literalmente, let's go, porque let us, sí, puede traducir a vamos, supongo, pero es más como déjanos. Let's go, literalmente la traducción sería déjanos ir. Entonces, o permítenos ir. No lo pensamos así literalmente, pero técnicamente significa eso. Entonces, let's go, permítanos ir, right? O permite que nos vayamos. Would technically be the translation there. Pero no hay una razón. Es así porque es así. Yeah? That's pretty much it. All right. Do you celebrate Thanksgiving since you are in Chile? Yes, definitely. I do. Yeah, totally. I don't get turkey though, but some sort of bird, pretty much. ¿Cuántos tiempos hay en inglés? Si queremos ser muy técnicos, siguiendo las reglas, o sea, la lingüística, inglés solo tiene 2 tiempos porque la definición de un tiempo técnicamente sería el cambio del verbo mismo. Entonces, si tomas un curso de lingüística, vas a aprender que inglés solamente tiene presente y pasado, porque los demás son construcciones gramaticales, right? No se cambia el verbo mismo para decir el futuro. Agregamos going to o will, para ser muy técnico. Pero ya que no estás hablando de eso, todos los tiempos que existen en español también existen en inglés. Entonces, es realmente la misma cantidad. Muchas personas van a decir, no, porque están pensando que el subjuntivo de español es un tiempo, que no lo es lo que se llama un humor, a mood. Entonces, si estás hablando de conjugaciones, tiempos, solo hay 2. Pero aparte de eso, present, tendría que nombrar los 2. I don't know, present simple, past or present continuous, past simple, past continuous, future simple, future continuous. Después todo lo que acabo de decir, pero con los tiempos perfectos. Todos los tiempos perfectos tienen un tiempo de perfecto continuo. Entonces todo eso, serían muchos para nombrarlos todos, pero básicamente eso, right? Present, past, future, simple, después continuous, después perfect, después perfect continuous. Entonces puedes hacer la multiplicación para ver exactamente qué cantidad de tiempos es, pero sí hay muchos para contarlos todos acá. Pero todos estos tiempos que acabo de mencionar existen en español. Entonces no hay realmente ningún tiempo ahí que sería totalmente nuevo para alguien que habla español. They're the same. A lot of them are really the same. All right. I'm going to take a couple questions here. ¿Qué opinas del programa RAIO de Kale Anders? I don't know anything about that program, so I've never heard of that program before, actually. Rayo. I think, is that Rayo? I don't know how that's pronounced. I don't know. I have no clue. I've never taken it, never been involved in it or anything like that. I got you speak a lot. Yeah, I think you got me to speak a lot. I'm not sure what you meant there. Okay, I'm going to skip down a little bit. ¿Cuáles son las conjugaciones más importantes? Por ejemplo, el past perfect. Probably all the simple tenses, all the simple tenses, all the continuous tenses, and I think they're all important. The ones that are maybe a little bit less important would be future perfect continuous, and the present perfect. The perfect continuous tenses are maybe a little bit less important. They're not so common. Same as in Spanish, right? And the future perfect is also not that common, the same as in Spanish, but the rest of them, I wouldn't put one more over the other, you know? And I think they're all pretty important. But the most essential ones would be the simple tenses. Present simple, past simple, future simple. And then the continuous tenses, and then the perfect tenses, and then the perfect continuous tenses in that order are the ones I would say are the most important, right? ¿Cómo se usa el verbo keen, to be keen? It's not really part of my dialect. That's more of a British thing. I think the way that they use it is to say, for example, if you like something or you're willing to do something, you might say, oh, I'm keen on pineapple pizza. I think they say something like this, like, I like pineapple pizza, or I am willing to eat pineapple pizza. But it's not really part of my dialect, so it's not something I ever say, ever. None of my friends say it. Nobody in my family says that. Hola, Yadian. Thank you very much. Saluda a Ros... Yeah, I think I know what you're going to say there. Yeah, I'm not going to read that name. You guys almost got me. Could you say something in a British accent? I could read that sentence. Could you say something in a British accent? Yeah, well, that wasn't that great, but I'm not British, so I don't speak with a British accent, but I can imitate it a little bit. I know a little bit about the sounds that they make, but not that great. So I feel like that was not the best way for me to imitate it. I'm not like a perfect British accent thing. Let me take a couple more questions here. The Rio course, it's a scam. I'm serious. I'm reading from one of the comments here. I'm seeing on Instagram from David. He actually did our class, that was our free class yesterday, so he would know. He speaks a lot of languages. I'm going to take your word for it because I've not looked into it or anything like that. So listen to Mr. David. He says that it's not worth it, the Rayo class from Kale Anders. So is that the one where they talk about learning English like a native or something in 3 months? Because if that's it, then yeah, that's not possible. It's not something that is even interesting. Like we could get into the neurology of it, but it's physically not possible to learn a language from 0 to native in 3 months. It's not, I cannot overstate that enough, right? And thank you, AJ Rodu. I appreciate that. Si quiero decir yo iba a la escuela, sería I went to the school. Depende. Típicamente, probablemente quieres decir I went to school. I went to the school implica que hay una escuela en particular a que fuiste. Yo fui a la escuela que está ahí en la esquina de esas dos calles, right? So I went to the school that is on the corner of those two streets. But if you're just talking about like a general, like you are educated, you would just say I went to school, right? And all right, let's check out a couple more of these. ¿Qué es due to? Yeah, Nico is correct there. Debido a, basically. Right? ¿Qué significa ain't? Ain't is a negation for usually the verb be, but it can also be a negation for the present perfect. So, for example, I ain't from Argentina. I am not from Argentina. So it's the negation there. Or she ain't from Argentina. They ain't from Argentina. You can use ain't with every single kind of person. You don't have to worry about the conjugation, no S or anything like that. You can also use it to negate the present perfect. For example, I ain't never seen two pretty best friends. I have never seen two pretty best friends. Nunca he visto dos amigos lindos, right? It's a TikTok joke. And in that case, they're using the ain't in order to negate the present perfect. So it can be used as a way to negate the present perfect as well, right? ¿Cómo se pronuncia penny? ¿Cómo se pronuncia jewelry? That's 2 syllables. Jewelry. That's it. Jewelry. And that's all you need to do there. Can you explain what does gotta mean? You can use gotta in a few different contexts. So you can use it. The technical answer is that it's a contraction of have got. Have got basically just means tengo o tengo que. So for example, I've got two dogs, right? I've got 2 dogs. Tengo dos perros, right? But if you want to say gotta, that's going to mean tengo que. So if you guys know Pokemon, right? Tengo que atrapar los dos. Gotta catch them all. I have to catch them all, or I have got to catch them all. So gotta is basically just a contraction to be able to say, I have got to, or I have to. Tengo que hacer algo. I gotta do something. Tengo que hacer algo. Right? I'm gonna actually write that one down. IZCTTC. I don't know how you guys come up with these names. Thank you for your page. Thanks to you, my exam speaking are getting better and better. Awesome. That's sick. Nice. It makes me feel good. Thank you. ¿Cuántas phrasal verbs son necesarias para el día a día y entender los libros? 42. No, obviamente no hay respuesta. No es como que hay un número de phrasal verbs que una vez que sabes este número de phrasal verbs ya estás bien. No, así no funciona. Entonces simplemente deberías estar intentando aprender la cantidad más grande posible. Con 100 phrasal verbs podrás hablar de muchas cosas, pero igual no hay una cantidad específica que al saber 100 ya estás bien. No, porque igual van a haber otros que no conoces. Entonces, en el día a día puede salir cualquier phrasal verb. Yo simplemente, yo no pensaría así, no lo pienso así, que hay esta X cantidad de phrasal verbs para saber y estoy bien. No, porque siempre quieres estar mejorando. Entonces, I wouldn't think of it that way. ¿Qué significa were? Were es el pasado de be, pero solo se usa con you, we, and they. So, you were happy. Tú fuiste feliz, right? Or tú eras feliz, right? Or they were talking really loudly. Estaban hablando muy fuerte, right? So it's instead of they are talking very loudly. So it's basically the past of are, basically, right? Wendy Palmao, hola, what's going on? ¿Qué significa have to and gotta? So I already mentioned what's up with gotta. Have to is the same thing, have to. So I have to talk to you. Te tengo que hablar. I have to talk to you. They actually both mean the same thing. I gotta talk to you. I have to talk to you. They're the same, to be honest. La expresión yours faithfully es informal o formal. ¿Por qué? It's very formal because it is. No, o sea, la razón que es formal es porque la gente lo usa en un contexto muy formal. Entonces se entiende como algo formal. Por eso, no es como super, nothing there's no hidden trick there. It's formal, and that's it. What do you think about Spanglish? For example, when people talk in Spanish and mix some words in English, envíame la información ASAP, or when somebody says revisemos el budget del próximo año. It's fine, right? Linguistically, we have to be okay with every single kind of dialect that comes up. I do think, personally, I think it's kind of funny. In Chile, if you guys don't know, we have a university major, una carrera universitaria que se llama Ingeniería Comercial, que es básicamente estudiando negocios, pero lo llaman como ingenieros. Y a mí siempre me ha dado risa como que casi a la fuerza meten cosas del inglés en su habla. ¿Cachai? En mi opinión y en las opiniones de unos estudiantes míos que han estudiado esa misma carrera, sí, usan Spanglish para parecer más como distintos o algo así. Entonces dicen como cosas como B2B, B2C, que sí es un término muy común de negocios en inglés, business to business, business to customer, pero lo usan en español como, no sé para qué, o sea, ¿por qué no dicen negocio a negocio, negocio a cliente? No sé, ¿cierto? Lo que me da más risa es que lo pronuncian raro. Dicen B2B o B2C en vez de B2B, B2C, que es como un nativo lo diría. Entonces, Spanglish está bien, pero me da un poco de risa cuando lo hacen a la fuerza. Si sale naturalmente, ya sí está bien, pero cuando viene a la fuerza simplemente para hacerse parecer más distinto o mejor o algo así, puede dar un poco de risa porque no siempre se pronuncia muy bien tampoco. Pero algo así como ASAP, eso se ha vuelto algo normal de español. Como yo creo que cualquier persona entendería eso, no tiene que ser en un contexto de negocios. En Chile, también específicamente, es súper común decir sorry. No se dice sorry, se dice sorry. ¿Está bien? Sí, totalmente. Eso no es como para hacerte parecer distinto o mejor o algo así. Es simple, ha salido naturalmente en el idioma. En inglés también tenemos cosas de Spanglish. Por ejemplo, decimos ocupado. No se dice ocupado, se dice ocupado con U. Y se usa, por ejemplo, si quieres ir al baño, pero alguien está dentro del baño y tú tocas a la puerta y dicen, thank you, Fer, y dicen, no, estoy en el baño, está como, lo estoy usando. En inglés van a decir ocupado y se entiende, este baño no puedo usar en este momento. Entonces, cosas así de Spanglish cuando sale naturalmente no tengo problema, solo cuando es como a la fuerza, que me puede dar un poco de risa. Explain when I have to use must or would. So must is a lot like debo, es deber, básicamente. Would se usa para formar el condicional, que es lo mismo en español que ría al final de un verbo. Entonces, yo comería pizza. I would eat pizza. La ría se vuelve would y va al inicio de la oración. Basically, that's what's going on there. Para el curso de conversación inglés de negocio, ¿cuándo sería la fecha próxima de inicio? ¿Se puede tomar desde México? Sí, absolutamente. O sea, eso es curso de conversación de inglés de negocio. Eso sería algo privado. Entonces, empezaría contigo cuando quisieras. Si fueras interesado, I can't see if you're a man or a woman. Si fueras interesado a tomarlo, sería a tu ritmo. Entonces podrías empezar, por ejemplo, mañana, pero probablemente no mañana, o sea, la próxima semana. Pero sí, podrías, y da lo mismo si estás en México, China, Argentina, Chile, Estados Unidos, Qatar. Tenemos estudiantes desde cualquier parte, entonces no importa desde donde estés, right? That's a good point. Just to be smart, it can be it's kind of weird, right? We have al tiro to say ASAP. Yeah, also that's super common in Chilean Spanish, for sure. ¿Cómo reemplazar how are you, pero que sea formal igual? How are you doing? How have you been? How are things? Or other alternatives you could potentially say, right? It's also funny when people make Spanish verbs ending with ing. Comienden, juganden, leyende. I've never heard of that. That sounds kind of funny though. But again, if it comes out naturally, that's fine, you know. But Yeah, it's when they're forcing it, right? Le llaman lenguaje exitoso el usar ASAP, FYI y otros. Creo que ahorra tiempo, pero para alguien que no le entiendes es fome. Que no le entiendes fome. Yeah, so those kinds of like acronyms, siglas, yeah, they save time, but like they're also in English, so you can have like a acronym like that in Spanish, right? All right, let me take a couple of questions here in TikTok. That's I'm seeing a lot of questions here. When to use also como también. Entonces se usa cuando lo usarías también, pero yeah, basically that. For example, also, you should practice English every day. También deberías practicar inglés todos los días, por ejemplo, right? ¿Cuál es el idioma más difícil, Spanish or English? Esa pregunta no tiene respuesta que es lo mismo para todos, porque, por ejemplo, para alguien que habla portugués, y portugués es su idioma nativo, español es millón de veces más fácil que inglés. Para alguien que habla holandés o sueco como su idioma nativo, inglés es millón de veces más fácil que español. Entonces, depende totalmente de tu idioma nativo. Para un hablante de chino, tengo entendido que inglés es un poco más fácil para ellos. Me han contado, pero no sé. Para un hablante de ruso, quizás español sería un poco más fácil. Entonces, depende cuál es tu idioma nativo para poder decir cuál idioma es más fácil. También para darle ejemplo, para los hablantes de inglés y español, ruso es más complicado que italiano, por ejemplo, o francés. Pero para alguien que habla ucraniano, ruso es la cosa más fácil del mundo. Entonces, de nuevo, siempre depende de tu contexto lingüístico. All right, so more questions here. ¿Es formal o informal? ¿Por qué? ¿Qué es formal o informal? No vi qué era la pregunta. All right. 1, 2, 3, Carla ya lo explicó. Okay, I'm not sure about that. How can I use up at the end of verbs? With some verbs, some selection of verbs, you can use up as an emphasizer. So for example, clean or clean up, right? Eat or eat up. Those are the only two examples I can think of at the moment. But sometimes you can use it as an emphasizer. I wouldn't focus too much on that though, because it's not something that happens with a lot of verbs. You can't just add up to the end of any verb. Just like a couple of verbs, you can sometimes kind of do that, right? ¿Por qué decidiste aprender español, Axeleo? Because my family speaks Spanish, so I wanted to be able to talk to them adequately and learn a new language. And Spanish is one of the easiest languages for English speakers to learn, so that's also pretty convenient for me, right? ¿Es más común ocupar inversions al hablar o escribir? ¿Cuáles son las más comunes? What do you mean specifically by inversions? Hold on, if I could find an example of what you're trying to say. With the subject verb, you're talking about the syntax, like subject, verb, object. Let me see. It's not super common to use inversions. Really, it's just used more for writing. So for example, you'll always hear people saying that the subject goes before the verb, but sometimes in writing you might have like, away ran the dog, right? Which technically has the subject at the end, the verb's in the middle, and then we have a complement at the beginning, which is not super common, but it can happen. It's not something that's common, to put it bluntly, right? Especially not when we're speaking. Maybe when you're writing, if you're writing fiction, maybe, right? But it's not something that really happens a lot. All right, let me take more questions here. There's a lot of questions here, guys. I try to answer as many as possible. I have recently completed. ¿Es formal o informal? ¿Por qué? Have recently completed, that sounds pretty formal. I don't have a lot of context, but complete is more formal than another form of the word, right? So basically, because in English, if we have a verb that has a Latin root, and then we have this another verb that means the same thing with a Germanic root, the one with the Latin root is always going to be a little bit more formal, right? So complete has a Latin root. It comes from French. Finish also has a Latin root, but maybe if we wanted to say recently completed, I've recently ended, right? Or I've recently finished up would be even better because you can add up, right? But you're using a phrasal verb. So complete is just a little bit of a more formal word than its alternatives, to be perfectly honest, right? Okay, let me see. Saludos desde Ciudad de México. Gracias por compartir. No problem. Good to hear from you. User 237719874. ¿Algún consejo para vivir en Canadá? Bring a coat. And wool socks. Calcetines de lana. It's going to be really, really helpful for you, right? ¿Podrías explicar la diferencia de have y have got y cuándo se usa en Estados Unidos? So I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Have, tener, have got, también es tener, pero un poco más informal, right? Y no decimos I have got, decimos, la verdad, omitimos el have y decimos I got. So for example, I got 2 dogs, right? Tengo 2 perros, right? Or I have 2 dogs would also be the same. I got is a lot more informal. It's technically you're saying I have got, but nobody says I have got 2 dogs. We don't talk like that. We just use the contraction. I got 2 dogs. So that's pretty much the difference. They both mean the same thing. Got or have got is going to be a little bit more informal, but make sure you say got and not have got, right? What's your favorite word in Spanish? I've not thought about that. I don't know. I have a favorite word in English. My favorite word in English is quintessential. But I've never thought about my favorite word in Spanish. I don't know if I have one right now. I like all words matter, right? Where are you? I'm in Ñuñoa right now. What is the difference between whereas and while? So they both can be used in the same context. Whereas is also more formal. But while can also be used for talking about 2 things happening simultaneously. For example, I am talking to you guys. I'm answering your questions while my cat is sleeping. So I couldn't say whereas necessarily in that sentence. It would be a lot better just to say while, because there are 2 things happening at the same time. Whereas would mean 2 different opposing situations. For example, I think that pizza with pineapples tastes good, whereas my friend thinks that they taste bad. And we're not like eating pineapple pizza right now. We just have 2 different opinions on that, right? So you could also use while in that case, but in general, while is going to be more informal than whereas, right? And instead of the preposition in, okay, whoa, that's a lot of, hold on. Hey, a mate, I saw this paragraph in a newspaper. Just wondering if you could explain why they use the preposition at before the name of a suburb, Winden. At approximately 3:30 this morning, the Westpac rescue helicopter was called to a motor vehicle accident on the New England highway at Wingen. I don't know. I guess that might be is that something that is is Wingen a place in the United States? I will say maybe New England Highway at Wingham. That's probably the whole name of the place. They're not saying the New England Highway that happens to be in Wingham. The New England Highway at Wingham is probably the whole name of the place. So for example, there's this university in the United States that I went to for a year before I came to Chile, which is the University of New York at Albany, right? That's the whole name of the place. It's not just, I went to the University of New York. It's located in Albany. It's the whole name is the State University of New York at Albany. So that could be one reason. In general, there's no answer for why did they use this preposition? They just did. People use prepositions, don't have a reason, right? I could always say the same thing about Spanish. ¿Por qué es depende de y no es depende de en? right? Why isn't it depende de en? No hay una razón, es simplemente porque así es. Con preposiciones no es como una cosa que alguien pensó una vez, ya tiene que ser esta preposición porque tiene más sentido. No, es porque así es la preposición que los nativos usaron en ese contexto. So prepositions don't really follow really strict rules like that, right? ¿Cómo se usa el presente continuous en futuro? Exactamente como usarías el presente continuous en el futuro. Pensé que estabas hablando sobre el futuro continuo. Presente continuo en el futuro es para hablar de algo muy, muy cierto que va a pasar. Estás muy seguro que va a pasar en el futuro. Un plan ya hecha, ya definida, todo eso. So, I'm making tacos tonight, right? Voy a hacer tacos esta noche. They're already cooking, they're being prepared. It's something that's definitely going to happen. So that's why I would be using a present continuous to talk about the future in that case, because it's something that's really certain that's going to happen, right? Thanks, Jimmy. How can I learn more phrasal verbs? Reading more, specifically more fiction, or watching more fiction. Phrasal verbs, since they're more informal, you're going to find them more in fiction than you will in non-fiction articles, because articles and non-fiction documentaries are, by definition, a little bit going to be more formal when they're talking. So fiction might have stuff where they're talking more realistically in a more informal setting, and phrasal verbs often can be more informal, more natural sounding. So yeah, there you go. That would be a great way to start. ¿Cómo se pronuncia el artículo a before a noun? Porque a veces lo escucho como a y a veces como a. Basically, when you're really emphasizing it, you're going to say a. If you're not emphasizing it that much, it's going to be a. So, that's basically it. Yeah, if you're talking quickly, it'll just be a. And if you're being really specific, a. There you go, right? For example, I have a shirt that I really like to wear, right? Or I have a shirt that I really like to wear. I'm like really specifying, being really clear with what I'm saying, and I'm not speaking that fast, so it kind of comes out as a, right? Would you explain the difference between got and have, please? Yeah, I went through that one a couple times today. Got, I assume you mean have got and have, right? Because have got, we normally shorten to just say got. In that case, they're just, one's informal, the other one's more formal. So got would be a little bit more informal, a little bit more natural sounding than have. So for example, I got two options, or I have two options. Tengo dos opciones. I got two options is going to be a little bit more informal, right? Have recently completed is formal, informal. Yeah, definitely it's a little bit more formal. I mentioned that a little bit before, right? Can you explain the difference between as and like? So we can use them both to compare some things. And usually as is going to be using to compare things as the same, right? So if you're saying it's as tall as Costanera, right? Es tan alto como Costanera. Tan como as. But if you want to say he is like a dog, él es como un perro. He is like a dog. There you go. I mean, you're just comparing it to one thing. Tan como as. Pero como por sí solo muchas veces va a ser como like. So that's one kind of basic difference you can be paying attention to in that case, right? All right, let me see if there's another couple questions down here at the bottom. ¿De qué país eres? I'm from the United States and Chile. Axeleo, ¿qué opinas de Super Holly? I guess people have asked me this sometimes. I suppose she has a YouTube channel. I don't have any reason to say anything negative about her. I'm sure she knows what she's talking about. What's the hardest accent in English? for you to understand. I mean, Irish is almost incomprehensible. Most native speakers will agree that Scottish English is one of the more difficult accents to learn. Welsh as well can be extremely difficult for people who are not familiar with it. But the one that people don't really mention a lot, which I think should get more attention, is South African, which is very different because it's mixed a lot with the Afrikaans language, so that can be pretty tricky. So those are a couple of the most difficult accents that I think people would mention. Oh, hey, let's speak English. I don't know your actual name. Thanks, I appreciate that. Good to see you here. Yeah, I don't know your name, but let's speak English. He's pretty cool, guys. He knows a lot of good stuff. You guys should go follow him as well. I think that nobody talks thinking about verb tenses. Only one simply speaks. Well, just think about, how do you speak Spanish? When you speak Spanish, are you thinking about what verb tense you're using? Probably not. That's how native speakers in English are thinking, right? So you just have to kind of get to that point in Spanish. In English, the nice thing is that, again, the verb tenses are not as different as they might appear. There's, of course, some key differences, but most of them are really similar to their equivalents in Spanish. Like almost all the perfect tenses, present perfect can have some differences, but like the future perfect, the past perfect continuous, it sounds really confusing, but it's like used the exact same way you'd use it in Spanish. So it doesn't have to be that tricky, right? And greetings from Ecuador. Can I speak about passive voice, please? I think you mean, can I speak about passive voice? Yeah, we use the passive voice if you want to sort of hide the subject. Also, if you want to just not mention the subject, or if you don't know the subject of a sentence. So for example, if you are at work, right, and there's a problem, right, and it's your fault. You don't go to your boss and say like, hey boss, I messed up. I caused a problem and it's terrible, right? No, you can say, hey boss, a problem was caused, an error was made, se cometió un error. ¿Quién? Well, se cometió, right? ¿Quién sabe, right? So you're kind of omitting the subject in that case. Also, let's say that a crime is committed. I just used it right there. Se comete un crimen, right? And yo no sé quién lo cometió. No sé. Entonces no puedo decir, Juan cometió el crimen. No, porque no sé quién lo hizo. Se ha cometido un crimen. A crime has been committed. So we also use the passive voice if you don't know the subject. And that's pretty much it, right? ¿Qué rayos significa y cómo se pronuncia sriracha? Así se llama una canción que me gusta. Sriracha es una salsa muy popular en Estados Unidos que yo creo que viene de India. Técnicamente, muchas personas no hacen eso, pero técnicamente SR se debería pronunciar como SH en inglés, pero muchos nativos ni siquiera saben eso, entonces lo pronuncian como sriracha o sriracha, pero realmente, si tengo entendido, en India o en el país en que tienen esa salsa originalmente, dirían como sriracha con SH. Por ejemplo, Sri Lanka, el país, Sri Lanka, como se llamaría en su idioma normal, right? Original, debería decir, right? And all right, hold on. I'm going to take a couple more questions here in Instagram, and then I'm going to be kicking it pretty soon. Hi, Via Rubio, what's up? In what of the USA there are not too much foreign people for learning English? I mean, of course, Miami is not the option. So in what part of the USA are there not that many foreign people? In the Midwest, any part that is very rural, in the north part of the Midwest of the United States. So like Wyoming or North Dakota or Idaho, Iowa, Montana probably. You're going to have a lot of places where you're not going to have a lot of foreign people. Stay away from big cities if you don't want to meet a lot of foreign people, I guess. Pretty much. Let me see. Oh, that's true. My South African teacher said something about that. That's why she decided to become a teacher. She's amazing, though. Yeah, South Africa. Yeah. So, I mean, not everyone from South Africa speaks unintelligibly in a way that's not understandable. But And if they're speaking in the heavy accent, it can be a little tricky. Can you pronounce Cersei? Searcha. No. So she's actually Cersei Ronan is the person you're talking about. Her name is Irish, using the Irish language, which, by the way, many people get this wrong. They say, oh, in Irish, they speak Gaelic. Gaelic is not a language, it is a language group. So speaking Gaelic is like saying that you speak Slavic. Doesn't make any sense, right? Irish is a Gaelic language. Scots is a Gaelic language. Welsh is a Gaelic language. And I think, there's one more. There's more than one more, but like Cornwallish or something like that. I don't know. So weird language they speak in England. But anyways, Cersei is the name of that actress. Cersei Ronan, right? Okay, es mejor decir how are you or how it going? How's it going? You want to say. But both are fine. So how's it going with S or how are you? Both are totally fine, right? Is there any Chilean community in New York? Yes, there is a community for every single country on the face of the planet in New York City. Absolutely, totally, 100%. How do people in the United States pronounce shawarma? 2 syllables actually. Shawarma. So it's not shawarma. Like, I don't know how it's pronounced in the original language. I'm just saying how we pronounce it in English. I mean, in Spanish, speakers will usually say shawarma with 3 syllables. In English, we just pronounce it with 2 syllables, shawarma. Shawarma, right? All right, how do you pronounce jewelry? Jewelry is the same. Yeah, jewelry. Can you save this live, please? Yeah, we put all the lives on IGTV, and also we're starting to upload them to YouTube as well, so you can check that out if you're into that. But they will be on IGTV and YouTube. Here, if you guys are on TikTok and you want to watch the rest of this live or the whole thing, you can click the little Instagram button near my on my profile, and it'll ask you like YouTube or Instagram, and then you just go to YouTube and you can check it out. I'm going to be uploading this. All right, last question. Travis Scott or Drake? Drake. All right, come on, right? Travis Scott is great though, but Drake. There's no Travis Scott without Drake. Although there's no Drake without Kid Cudi, who is a direct influence for Travis Scott. That's where Travis Scott gets his name. Scott comes from Scott Mescudi, which is Kid Cudi's real name. So definitely something you're gonna keep in mind if you're wondering about Travis Scott or Drake. Alright, ¿tienes un canal donde dejas clases más largas o haces en clases en vivo? Porque entiendo todo. Yeah, if you go to Instagram, we have a lot more content there, more videos. We do the lives there as well as free classes every single week. And then also we're starting to, thank you, Wombat, appreciate that. We're also uploading more stuff on YouTube as well. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. If I see some people asking about classes and stuff, send me a direct message or check us out in the or check us out on Instagram and we can give you some more information there. All right, so chill. I'll catch you later.